Bangers or hard-hitting players can be extremely frustrating to play against in pickleball. And unless you understand the techniques and strategies that I'm about to go through, beating them can seem nearly impossible. The bottom line is that there's only a few skills that you need to develop in order to beat these players every single time. And while 90% of players don't know how to successfully implement these, they're actually pretty simple. So make sure to pay close attention. To start, I'm going to show you what these skills are. Then I'm going to show you how to use them in real points. If you've played bangers though, I guarantee something like this has happened to you. Bangers love to kill balls from the back and move forward to pounce. And regardless of your level, that play can actually work. Unless you can do this. So the key difference there was that I kept my volleys low and penetrating, which is probably the #1 skill that you need to have to beat bangers. Why 90% of players can't do this though, is because it's hard to respond to a really hard ball without popping it up. So what do you need to do here? It all starts with your technique. The first part of your technique that we need to worry about is your ready position, or how you wait for the ball. If you're just standing up here like this, right, and the banger's hitting the ball at you super hard, it's really hard for you to get in position quickly enough to consistently get their balls back. So what does a good ready position look like? A good ready position starts with your feet actually. So a lot of people are really worried about their hands, but you want to have a good base so that you can lunge in either direction if you need to hit the ball, right? So we want to have a wide base, a little bit wider than our shoulders, and you always want to be on your toes. You don't want to be on your heels, you want to be on your toes and have slightly bent knees like this. Okay, so that's what we're doing with our legs. With your hands, you want to have your paddle out in front, slightly up like this. I like to keep the tip of my paddle about the height of my chin. You'll see some players with it lower. I like to keep it about right here in case they hit it a little bit higher on me. I want to have it about 2 feet in front of my body. I don't want it straight out, and I don't want it right on me. Probably about 2 feet, so you can look at my arm for reference. It's a little bit bent right out in front. Have my other arm out in front too. I don't personally put my second hand on the paddle. So if you don't put your second hand on the paddle, I would just leave it out to the side. And then I angle my paddle slightly towards my backhand, because a lot of the time they're going to hit it right at my body. And when you have it angled towards your backhand, it makes it a lot easier to defend your body with your backhand, which is what you should be doing. One thing to think about is that when you're playing bangers, you might feel like you don't have the reaction time to get ready for their hard shots quickly enough. But I want you to know that reaction time isn't about having natural ability and naturally super fast reflexes. It's mainly just about having a good ready position and having automatic responses for every type of shot that you get. So you just need to be in the right position so that you can react super quickly to a hard ball. If I'm down here and I need to move my paddle up, that takes 20 times longer than if I'm already in this position. And everywhere I need to go, it just takes a little quick movement. Right? So even there she kind of jammed me, but I have an automatic response to get to that position. So really focus on your ready position and your legs, and you're going to react way faster to those shots. The next thing you want to keep in mind is that when your opponent's hitting the ball really hard at you, and you want to hit it hard and low back, is that you want to keep a firmer wrist than you would on a normal volley. So you see there, when I'm hitting my shot off of these drives, I'm not taking a big backswing and using my roll volley technique. I'm really just blocking it like this. And what that does is it makes your paddle more stable, because I'm also holding it tighter. So I'll show you a few more examples of that. When she's hitting it nice and hard, I barely am really moving my paddle at all. What I don't want to do is take big swings at it with a loose wrist. So when you're playing a banger and they're driving at you, compact motion and firmer wrist on the paddle for your backhand and your forehand volley. Let me show you a few more. So I'm just getting it nice and low. If I'm looser, what happens is sometimes I might actually miss-hit the ball too. So I'm sure you've been playing a banger where they hit it really hard at you and it kind of feels like you miss-hit it. The solution to that is to focus on hitting it in the center, having a compact motion, and squeezing the paddle a little bit tighter. And with this technique, all we're trying to do is hit our volleys harder and lower at the depth of our opponent's feet. So if Kennedy's back, all I'm trying to do is hit low penetrating volleys, nice and deep, so that she can't really move forward. As she tries to move forward though, the targets move in with her so that I'm going right at her feet. So she's gonna come in a little bit here, and I'm gonna go right at her feet so that she's having to take the balls in this weird awkward position, which prevents her from coming in. What I don't wanna do in this position is give her floater shots like this that let her pounce and crush the ball. The next thing that you need to be able to do against bangers though is counterattack. This is because a lot of the time bangers hit the ball too hard for you to reset the ball into the kitchen, and a lot of the time they put themselves in a bad position by being too aggressive at the wrong time. Before I get into that though, if you're looking to upgrade your hand speed, the Dink Master is one of the best ways to do it. While all the information in this video is going to help you, practice is what makes perfect. With the Dink Master, you can do fast hands drills like this that'll prepare you to react to bangers' hard shots so you aren't stunned by them when it happens on the courts. If you want to check out the Dink Master, head to the link below the video. As I was saying though, a lot of the time the banger will attack you in a way where you need to be able to counterattack. So essentially if Kennedy tries to attack me and I just keep resetting the ball into the kitchen, eventually it's going to be pretty challenging for me to win the point. So my best bet against a banger in that situation is to counterattack. This usually happens when the banger is getting closer to the kitchen. So here we're dinking, Kennedy is going to attack me, and I need to be able to counterattack to prevent her from being on offense. And all you're doing when you're counterattacking is getting the ball as low as you safely can so that they can't attack you well on the next one. So in that case, Kennedy attacked my backhand, and I tried to get the ball right at her feet, which makes it pretty much impossible for her to do anything. And a lot of the time, if Kennedy goes for an aggressive shot when she shouldn't, I can actually end the point with my counterattack. You can actually counterattack when the banger is back too, because a lot of the time, the banger will hit a drive that goes a little bit high, like Kennedy's going to here. And what you can do is be more aggressive with those shots and take him to the open sections of the court. When the banger hits a really hard low ball, you might need to just block it more and go for their feet to where they'll probably get the next ball back. But if they accidentally hit it too high, that's where you can counterattack and go for the open sections of the court and take advantage of the fact that they aren't going for drops and they're going for too many drives. One caveat to what I just said though, is that if the banger is driving the ball high, a lot of the time you need to let it fly out. Because when bangers are hitting the ball super hard, unless it's like 1 foot over the net, most of the time it's actually sailing long. So it's really important that you're a good judge and you let those balls go out, because a lot of the time if you hit them, that's where you'll give the banger an easy shot that they can move forward on, because they're hitting it so hard that it's actually really challenging to get those balls back low. So when the ball is high, let it fly. Real quick though, if you guys are looking to get to the next level, make sure to subscribe to our channel. This will make it so all of our videos are suggested to your YouTube account. To subscribe, all you need to do is head right below the video and click the subscribe button. Another really important thing that we need to go over though in terms of beating bangers is that sometimes to beat a banger, you need to become a little bit more of a banger than you normally are. And the reason for that is, if you're playing bangers and they're going super hard on every single shot, and you're playing your normal game style where you're trying to get into dinking rallies, they're always going to be the first one being aggressive, which can make things a little bit harder, especially if you aren't really comfortable with your counter attacks. So what I like to recommend is that when you're playing a banger, go out and play your normal game style and see if your counter attacks are working, because they're going to be the ones that are attacking on you first for the most part. So if your counter attacks are working and you're beating them consistently like that, you don't need to change anything. But if they're always the one attacking first and you're not being effective with your counterattacks, then you probably want to be the one to be aggressive first. So to summarize, when you're playing a banger, it's totally fine to play a little bit more like a banger yourself. Now guys, we're going to play through a bunch of points where Kennedy and Kent are playing like bangers, and me and Drew are using all the skills we just went through to try and beat them. Throughout the game, I'm going to coach you through what it's like trying to beat a banger in real time. And I want you to look out for one super important bonus tip that I'm going to throw in. But until then, grab your popcorn and let's get into it. And that's out. So there's an example of when the banger hits the drive too hard and it goes long. There, luckily neither me or Drew hit the shot, so we got the point. There, Drew did a really good job of hitting that low, firm volley right at Kent's feet as he was moving in, which makes it pretty much impossible for him to do anything. Same thing there, I got the ball nice and low at Kennedy's feet, and she went for a drive, but in that position, it's not very smart to go for a drive, so she missed. There, another great example of Drew getting that ball nice and low at Kennedy's feet, so she couldn't really do much as she was coming forward. As you can see there, when they're hitting those hard drives, as long as I can get the ball nice and low at their feet, it's pretty much impossible for them to do anything. So as I've been saying the whole video, that's the number one thing to focus on when you're playing a banger. So there was an example where Kennedy actually hit a pretty good drive, and I reacted a little bit late, wasn't ready for it, and she got the point.
That's totally fine. A lot of the time when you're playing a banger, they're gonna hit a shot that's just too good. What's important though is that you recover and you're ready for the next point and you don't get discouraged. That, guys, was actually a good example of the bonus tip that I wanted to give you. And that's when you're playing a banger, it's extremely important that after your return, you get into the kitchen as quickly as you can and you split step into that ready position we were talking about. Because if you get stuck in the middle of the court like I just did, it makes it really hard to respond to their first drive, which can set them up to crush the next ball. There's an example where Kennedy was playing as a banger and she went for a drive, and it gave me the opportunity to punish her partner because it wasn't a very good one. So a lot of the times you'll be playing against a banger and they don't hit a very good shot. What you can do is punish their partner who may not have even been ready for them to go for a drive in the first place. There's another example of where he hit the drive, and I could have hit the volley there, but I recognized it was high and was going to go long, so I let it go and I won the point. There, they went for a drive, which wasn't very good, so I got the opportunity to counterattack, and then I took control of the point, and it took me a few more shots to end it, which I did by taking the ball down the middle. There's a prime example of going right at the banger's feet. This is textbook as to what you want to do against this type of player. That was an example of where I wasn't holding my paddle tight enough, so off their drive, it felt like I sort of mishit it and popped it up. If I had been holding my paddle tighter though, it would have been a lot easier for me to hit a firm volley that goes right at their feet. There was an example of when Kennedy and Kent were acting like bangers, but they actually hit a pretty good drop, which let them come in, and when she got up, she attacked me right at my right shoulder, which made it challenging for me to do anything.
And if you like that point, guys, make sure to like this video and comment where you think we're playing. As you can see, we're in the middle of the desert, kind of a crazy court location. So head to the comments and let us know where you think we are. And as I said earlier in the video, guys, sometimes you actually need to channel your inner banger when you're playing against a banger. So if you want to learn how to win points by hitting hard, watch this.